Brilliant.
Okay.
So here's a question I get asked all the time. What comes first, the website copy or the website design?
I think it's really important that both are developed together. It's important that you know who you're talking to, you know the problems you're solving for them, how you're going to solve them, and why they should choose you. And that is why you need to look at the copy at the same time.
Absolutely, because unless you know what problem you're trying to solve and who you want to reach, you can't design an effective website that will do that job for you, can you? Because you've got to start with the line that hooks them in and explains the pain points so that they can see exactly what they're experiencing reflected back at them when they read it, and then talk them gently through exactly how that is going to be resolved for them by you.
That's right. And thinking about those call to actions as well, and how you're going to word those, how you're going to connect with your potential target client or user. You need that messaging right.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are the biggest mistakes that you see with copy on websites?
I'd say the biggest one is not being able to understand within the first few seconds of being on a website what that business does and what problem it solves. Because if you think about it in the simplest terms, when someone new is going to your website, they're coming to figure out if you're the right choice for them. And unless they can see what you do and think, yes, that's what I need, and then read on and see the problem that they've got now and how that could be solved by you, then they're just not going to stick around. They're going to go away and find another website that says that to them very clearly and helps them to make that choice as easily as possible. And the other mistake that I often come across is an overuse of some of the AI generated copy that's available. Yeah. Do you see that too?
I do. And that, alongside my two number one problems that I see, are, first of all, people who are, particularly where they've built a website themselves to start with, they have a wonderful business, they're really good at what they do, and they want to say that. But what they forget is that a website is not for them, it's for their clients. And so they talk about themselves too early on in the process. And the second thing is too many words. I always say, if you've not had a copywriter involved, you can probably lose about 50% of the words, because these days we have very low attention spans and we need to be able to see clearly and quickly what it is that the website is about.
Absolutely, yes.
How do you balance clarity and creativity in website copy?
Well, that all comes back to giving that message as clearly as you possibly can about the problem that you solve, but also injecting some of you into it and what that experience is going to be like when someone comes to work with you. So you've got to do that brand messaging and that brand language work up front before you even come to the website design and copy development stage. You need to be very clear who you're speaking to, what is going to appeal to them, and how you want to come across as a business owner as well. Are you fun and informal and a little bit jokey, or are you professional, strong, an expert in what you do and want to give a very authoritative persona? So that is how we inject that side of things into the message that you're putting across. So get that brand messaging right to begin with, and then you can start to develop a copy that is creative in terms of showing the personality of your brand, but also as simple as possible to make sure you're not creating too many words. Just like you've said before, Sarah, too many words on a website is just confusing, and getting that nice balance of creativity and effective conversion so people know what you're talking about.
That's right. We also have a tendency to talk very politely on our websites. And I always tell my clients, think about a phone conversation. If someone were to phone you up and you would say, how can I help? And they would tell you their problem, and you would tell them how you can help them. And that's what you want to get across on your website too. We have a very big tendency to use very formal language, lots of words. Just think about that phone conversation. This is what your website is for. It's your way to get across how you can help people.
Absolutely. 40 years ago, most people would have had a shop premises on the high street, and people would have come in off the street and would have said exactly that. Good morning, I'm looking for this. And you would then talk them through what you've got around you and show them all your wares. And that's what a website's doing, isn't it? It's got to be like the experience they would have coming into your shop and you to talk them through what you do. So it doesn't need to be formal, it needs to be what it would be like if they met you.
Absolutely.
Right, here's another good one I get asked a lot, Sarah. How important is a blog to your website?
I actually think after call to actions, it's probably one of the most important things. It serves so many purposes. It is a way to get across what you do and how you do it in more details. You can cover case studies, you can give hints and tips. It shows that authority. Also, it keeps your content fresh and moving. If people come to your website and they can see that you've been adding blog posts, they can see that you're current, that you're up to date, that your website is still going, and got to have it for SEO. It's such an, I'm going to start that bit again. And it's really good for SEO. It's keeping your content changing, which Google likes. We don't know exactly how Google ranks things, but we do know that Google likes good content that changes. So it can help in many ways, and it can keep people on your website for longer, which is also good for conversion and for SEO.
Absolutely. Yes, there's so many uses for a blog. It's such a simple thing to do every month, and it can benefit you in so many ways, can't it?
It can.
People come to your website to find out who you are and what you know. And they're coming and they're looking for that information. So why not give it to them in a blog? Pretend it's your space to have a coffee with somebody. And if you had time to sit down with every visitor to your website and have a coffee with them, how would you do that? What would you say? What would you tell them? How would you demonstrate what you know and a little bit of your personality as well? And a blog is such a great place to do that because you've got more space. You're not trying to keep the words nice, neat and defined like you are in other places on your website. And it also opens up so many more different search terms as well, doesn't it? So you may not be able to have a single product page for everything that you offer, but you could have that possibly on your blog if you wanted to do that. So it's just a great way to expand what you've got out there for people to read and consume, and also for Google to read, consume and index. And it does so many different jobs for you, and it's just such a great way to connect with new people and to keep your current customers interested as well, isn't it?
Do you think a blog has to be just about your business?
Absolutely not. No. I think as long as you're consistent and you stick to certain topic areas, it doesn't just have to be about your business. It's about you and what you offer and what you enjoy as well. So as long as you are sticking to, say, 3 fixed pillars that you've maybe developed as part of your brand marketing plan, then if you've got an interest in travel and it forms a big part of the reason why you do what you do, then absolutely talk about that, because you may very well be making connections with people who are wondering whether or not to go with you and suddenly see that they've got this interest in common with you, and that could be the thing that convinces them to get in touch.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Don't just blog about your business, take some joy in what you put out there, and that will shine through as well.
Thank you.
So when you're designing a website, what are the non-negotiables that you tell every client they need to include on a website in order for it to do the job for them?
Well, websites can range from fairly simple to quite complicated, but the key things you have to have on a website are, what are those pain points that you're addressing for your clients? How you're going to do that, your services, your products that will solve those problems for them, and then why they should choose you. And those 3 things make up the main part. And then, of course, the final piece of the puzzle, so to speak, is those call to actions. You need to know what your call to actions are. One of the first things I always ask potential clients is, what do you want your visitors to do? Do you want them to book an appointment? Do you want them to contact you, phone you, fill in a form? What do you want them to do? And knowing that is the best way to get them to do it, because you can lead them by the hand through it.
Absolutely, yes. I think it's really useful to know what the top 3 most visited pages on a typical website are. Homepage, obviously, is the first one that people go to.
Yeah.
And I think the About You is the second most visited page on the average website, because people don't necessarily realise this, but when they're going to a website, they're trying to gather as much information about that business as they can to see whether it's right for them. And they get so much from a well-written About You page. One that's quite bare and doesn't have a great deal of content on it can often be quite off-putting, I think. If you don't have any good images, you don't have a good description of who you are and what problems you've been drawn to solve by setting up this business. I think people lose a lot by not having a decent about page in terms of converting the visitors that they get. And then the third most visited page is the blog page. And,
Yes.
and we know how important a blog is to your business. And if people are coming to look for that, then why not give it to them and make sure that they've got a blog on there that they can. It doesn't have to be an onerous weekly task, but as long as you're updating it regularly and giving people some new content, satisfying Google's indexing, it can really work absolute wonders for you, can't it? Particularly in terms of giving people the reason to choose you and getting in touch or taking that call to action that you've told them they must have.
I like including the most recent blog posts on a homepage as well, because people can see as they come to visit the site more often, because people are not going to contact you the first time they visit a site.
No.
They're going to come back and they can see that changing, that extra information and connecting. Well, as you said about the about page, it's important to connect with people. People will choose you because they feel they have a connection with you, and it's your chance to make that connection.
Mm-hmm.